The following is a presentation of IMG, America's home for college sports.
We have to be a team that does a great job doing what we're coached to do.
It's time for the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show.
It's more important to decide what you're going to do and just explode and do it. They're very young guys.
They're going to get explosive all of a sudden.
Games aren't won on one day. Games aren't won with one play. Games are won over the course of an entire week.
This is the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show on the Washington State IMG Sports Network. U.S. Bank, proud sponsor of the Washington State Cougars. U.S. Bank, the power of possible. Tonight's show is also brought to you by Northern Quest Resort and Casino, by Zeppos, the home for the Cougar Coaches Show, and by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Now, live from Zeppos alongside Cougar head coach Mike Leach, here's the voice of the Cougars, Matt Chazanow.
We are back. It is great to be with you here at Zeppos after another Holiday Bowl season. The Cougs 9 wins last year are chomping at the bit to hit somebody other than themselves. They've been crimson and gray against crimson and gray since Lewiston, and the guys are all set after installing the game plan this week to head to Laramie, Wyoming, notable for its elevation of 7,220. There will be signs of 7,000-plus feet of elevation. There was a great story that came out that Peyton Pallure and the boys are drinking beet juice to get prepped for the added elevation. We'll talk to Coach Leach about all that in just a moment. He's on his way from the practice field as he always is on Thursdays. Thursday has that extended period where the freshmen play Thursday night football. This is the first game week for Thursday night football, so it's a big one for those guys. And it's a different kind of year for freshmen, too, because there's a landmark rule where freshmen can now play 4 games and still redshirt, and they can play any point in the season, those 4 games. So what we're going to do is we take this first segment here, and generally we recap the previous week. Well, there hasn't been one, but there were incredible moments last year. One of them, many of them, of course, including record-setting QB Luke Falk, who is starting right now for the Tennessee Titans in their final preseason game. He's 6 for 10 for 55 yards. No touchdowns, no picks so far for Luke. He was in the red zone, and he had a ball go in and out of the hands of a receiver. He almost had a preseason touchdown pass at least. I know he's already had at least one of those. But we're going to listen to some of the highlights from last season in the 9-win year, and then we'll take a break and come back and talk to Coach Leach live here at Zeppos.
Montana State.
Falk throws it left. Pass is complete in the end zone. Touchdown to Boris Morton Jr. And Luke Falk, with 2 passing touchdowns, is now the number 1 all-time Washington State touchdown passer.
Boise State.
It is a 31-10 Boise State lead. Tosses it left to Morrow at the 3 and walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Washington State. Down by 21 in the 4th quarter. An extra point will tie the game. Passes left. Catchment to the 20-yard line. Morrow to the 10. Runs for the win. Dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Washington State. It's a comeback for the ages. An all-time Cougar win.
Jamal, what's going through your head right now?
That's something you, as a little kid, you dream of, a situation like this.
Oregon State.
Kyle Sweet runs to the end zone. Touchdown. Dragging across the middle. It's a 10-yard hookup. Luke Falk has 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, and ties the single-game touchdown record.
USC.
2nd and 10 here for the 25. Snap back to Darnold. Pressure is on. Jahad Woods hits the ball. It goes free. The Cougs have recovered it. The ball goes free. Jahad Woods forces a turnover. The Alex Grinch Speed D strikes again. Here in Pullman, this place will pop tonight. Luke Falk takes the knee. 30-27. Washington State. The Cougs beat the Trojans and the fans rush the field.
Oregon.
And for the first time since the early 80s, the Cougs have beaten the Ducks 3 straight games. 33-10. 3 years in a row, the Cougs beat Oregon. Washington State is 6-0.
Stanford.
Snap back Costello. 3rd and 10. Steps up. Hit as he throws. It's picked off. A senior pick for
Frankie Louvu to seal the deal. He's tackled inside the 20 in front of his father, who's off the islands for the first time in his life. And he witnesses Frankie Louvu seal the win on senior day.
Utah.
Snap back for Falk, slings it left, catches made in the slot, touchdown, and there it is. Nobody has thrown more touchdowns in Pac-12 history than Luke Falk, and he sets the record 40 miles from his hometown.
That's your 2017 season recap, presented by Nissan Intelligent Mobility. Now the most exciting tech you own is in your driveway. More from Zeppos after this on the Washington State IMG Sports Network. Welcome back to the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show. U.S. Bank, proud sponsor of the Washington State Cougars, the power of possible. Once again, here's Matt Chazanow.
So great to be back. It is game week. We're live here at Zeppos. We've got Coach Leach off the practice field. Coach, it's a beautiful day here on the Palouse, and it was your first Thursday night football of 2018 in the earnest sense of game week. How'd the young guys look out there? How'd practice go today?
They look good. We had a good one last week, but this is the game week one, and they look pretty good today. It was pretty tightly contested, I thought, both sides, and in both cases, players are getting better. I think it's especially good for the offensive line and the defensive line, and but no, it's been good.
How different is practice as you transition from getting a sense of who's who and what's what in Lewiston, and now it's installation of game plan in game week?
Well, it's more specific. I mean, the positions are more specific. Your scheme's kind of tailored to, what you think Wyoming will do. So I would say it's more specific. It's kind of more fine-tuned teaching, I'd say. We've
got questions rolling in on Twitter for you, Coach. You can also call if you want to participate audibly, 866-268-4825. 866 Coug Talk is what that spells out. Coug House on Twitter asks you, Coach, who will be the new, and folks really loved this and locked into it, who will be the new coin flipper now that Jamal Morrow is gone? What's the word on that?
I've been thinking about some guys, and I haven't told them yet, so I got to hold that back. But, I just want kind of an even-tempered guy that can go out there, and lucky people are good, too. Morrow was lucky, and part of it, I think, was his experience on The Price is Right.
Right.
And I will miss the Price is Right song as Morrow used to go out there.
Right.
And because he'd go out there, and, of course, he was on Price is Right before he came to Washington State. And then he got on a run where I think he won 9 out of 12 coin tosses last year, or some crazy number.
Yeah.
And then they'd play the Price is Right music for him as he would come and go.
Yeah, he had definitely beaten the odds more than. So that's a TBD.
Well, some teams it takes 4 people to flip the coin.
Yeah.
But we coach our guys up, and in our case, it only takes 1. So we send one guy out there.
Just the one guy. Thank you, Coug House, for that. And somebody else also asked about the coin toss. Gareth, Pullman Pirate, which is more important than Gareth, although Gareth's a great name, but Pullman Pirate is the pertinent part. How do the workout drills and general practice structure change from year to year?
They don't change much from year to year. It's almost like, there's people that'll come back that played for me 20 years ago, and they can tell you, what's next and what's this day and what's so it is pretty routine. Now, we do spend more time really trying to refine practice, maybe a nuance here or there, but the periods have been pretty close to the same for a long time.
Well, that's partly what makes it so easy for a guy like Mason Miller, for instance, who was with you at Valdosta State. He had mentioned when he first got here in an interview that it took him a little bit maybe to kind of get some of the cobwebs out, but he knew the system, he knew the practice, he knew the routine, and it helped him acclimate faster.
Yeah, there was a lot of similarity. And then in Spurrier's case, it was very similar to what we did at Oklahoma that year. And then anyway, so it's, that. And then the other thing, the players always know kind of their role, where they go and what they're supposed to do. And, I think you kind of liven it up with the personalities involved there. But you have to have a routine if you're going to really refine your skills.
Mariners Rants asks, what makes all 4 quarterbacks so good? Do they all have different skill sets? We're kind of hopping around here. It's this segment where we go through Twitter questions for Coach.
Well, I think first off they're talented. We liked them to begin with, and we thought they were pretty good. And then you try to get them as many reps as you can. It starts with Thursday night football, springs camp, a ton of film. I mean, more film than most people would fathom. And then just keep rolling along, really. But a quarterback that plays for us, with rare exception, has thrown an awful lot of balls, has watched an awful lot of film, and has done a lot of these things a lot of times.
And you mean to say that that the quarterbacks have watched a lot of film, not that you've watched a lot of film on the quarterbacks?
We watch, of course, each practice, watch it together, teach what we saw, where we wanted everybody, where their eyes should be, that type of thing.
You're talking Gardner Minshew, Trey Tinsley, Anthony Gordon, and Cameron Cooper, and we can go through each of those 4 guys. But in full fairness, by my eyes, and I'm no coach and don't pretend to be, they have all had their moments. I mean, Gordon for 3 days in Lewiston was really slinging it out there. Not that he hasn't since, but you could tell he was playing really good ball down there, and they've each played well at times.
Yeah, I do think they're all playing well, and they really are. I think Trey's kind of commands the whole package, and knows all the stuff and the this and the that, and then Gardner brings a presence that kind of elevates the group. Anthony sees the field really well, and the ball comes off his hand really quick. Cameron, on any given play, can throw the best ball on the team maybe, and then just kind of assembling it so it's automatic, still kind of in the position where he's thinking and working through stuff.
There's something to a QB where you've got to have, as a leader, you kind of have to have that confidence. And when I first met Gardner, and I know it sounds really silly, he's got that mustache, and you just wouldn't do that without a certain amount of confidence. He's got that QB swag, doesn't he?
Yeah, you'd have to have some confidence to wear that mustache. But I think that's one of the most important qualities of a quarterback is confidence. Because it rubs off on the others. I think just delivering what you do with confidence and presence and that sort of thing is huge because it affects the rest of the team.
Can you tell in the way he practices and the way he carries himself that he has that game experience? I know Tinsley and Gordon and Cooper have tons of talent, but they don't have the game experience, and Gardner does from East Carolina.
He does. He's played the most games, and then and does have kind of a quality where, he goes out there and expects to be there. So,
got tons of guys to throw to. I was trying to count them up, and, it's hard to know for sure because part of it's just game flow and whatnot. It's at least 14. I mean, for sure, including running backs. You got 14 guys to throw the ball to.
Yeah, we'll have 8 at receiver and then 2 or 3 at running back. So, you need a lot of targets. If somebody gets hot or has good endurance and is a dominant player, then he gets to play even more. That's the thing. And so you want to keep them fresh, but also want to keep the best guys out there. Some of them, they're kind of hugged together and they're kind of similar. But our receivers, I think, have come a long way this camp. And I think we got some very explosive guys that don't have a ton of experience, but I think they've come a long way throughout camp.
We're talking about a group. You mentioned the running backs. James Williams had 71 catches last year. He led the team out of the backfield, and 482 receiving yards, 3 receiving TDs, and Harrington had 80 total touches a couple of years ago. Actually, his biggest game was probably against Wyoming a couple of years ago, and Max Borghe's certainly shown he can catch the ball. I mean, that's 3 more receiving targets right there.
Yeah, Max has stepped in ready to play, and that's awfully tough for a guy that comes out of high school in January. But, Max is right in the mix of things, and, a physical guy, a fast guy, faster than he looks, one of the fastest guys on the team. And then, I don't know how many balls he caught in high school, maybe 5, but he catches the ball really good.
Yeah, he's got great hands. He's shown that in practice. Thank you for your Twitter questions. For those listening who contributed, you can feel free throughout the show to hit us up with a tweet if any of them come in. We'll try to get them on. You can also call in 866-268 866-Coug Talk, 866-268-4825. Download the all-new WSU Cougar Game Day app presented by Gus Johnson Ford today. Enjoy exclusive content, maps, up-to-the-minute news, live audio game day offers, and more available in the App Store and Google Play. Download today. Talking football here with Coach Leach. It's week 1. It is football season. Headed to Laramie, Wyoming on Saturday. Back here live next on the Washington State IMG Sports Network.
Interact with the show. Give us a call on the bookie call-in line at 866-COUG Talk, 1-866-268-4825. Live from Zeppo's alongside Cougar head coach Mike Leach. Here's Matt Chazanow.
Back here live talking football with the coach. We are live at Zeppo's. It's week number 1, a renovated Zeppo's. Place looks great. It's really exciting to see what they've done with their offseason, which was busy. You went to Cambodia this offseason.
Yeah, it was awesome. Really a scenic place, and really friendly people, some ancient ruins that, are off the charts. I can't remember if it's one of the wonders of the world. If it's not, it certainly could be.
Angkor Wat.
Yeah, and then the floating villages were outstanding. So, yeah, it was an incredible trip. And then went to Taiwan and met and hung out with 2 Coug alums that were over there, and then that they set us up with. Since I was going, I figured I'd see if there were any Cougs to run into, and so I did. Then we went to one place because we were tired of eating. We wanted food that was a little more familiar. And
like a burger?
I went to they call a Western pub or whatever.
Sure.
So mainly English and Europeans, but also a bunch of Americans. First guy I run into, he said he played baseball at Washington State.
Cougs are everywhere.
Yeah.
I went to one of the ACC schools over on the East Coast, and I go to get an adult beverage, and the bartender leans over and whispers at me, goes, "Hey, I'm a Coug, just so you know."
That's pretty good.
Yeah, everybody's a Coug. Everywhere you go, it's phenomenal. You got a Taiwanese Zeppo's over there, and you got Cougs.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you represent the Cougs. So, and obviously we want as many international students as we can get that are quality students, and so we splashed the Coug around Cambodia and Taiwan.
Love it. Hey, we got another question here for you on Twitter from Matt. He asked, and I think a lot of fans, I don't know if this is an advantage or a disadvantage, and maybe it's not definitive, but he asks a really good question. Does Wyoming having a game last week, and we can talk about what they did against New Mexico State, does that help you prepare for them because you can see the film of what they're doing this year? Is it an advantage for you? Is it an advantage for them because they got a chance to play? How does that work to play that 0 week?
Well, I think it's an advantage for both. That it's an advantage for them because they can look at their weaknesses and improve themselves, and there's nothing like an actual game in order to do that. We get film on them from this year, and of course we don't have any film yet.
Right.
So I think it goes both ways.
They look pretty good, didn't they, Wyoming?
Yeah, they're physical. They look a lot like they did last year. They're physical, and they they're just a team that runs to the ball, and they're not real flashy. They have great technique, and they reinforce it. And they do it over and over.
We'll do the full opponent preview segment in just a little bit, but Matt Kylo, thanks very much for that question on Twitter, and folks, feel free to keep sending those questions. And the Cowboys are 1-0. They beat New Mexico State 29-7. And the defense, like you said, Coach, looked really good. They've got 2 preseason all-league guys, Andrew Wingard and Carl Granderson, and we'll get into all that stuff as we roll on here through the show. We talked quarterbacks. We talked offense, Coug offense a little bit. The defense, which was so good last year, you were second in the nation in passing last year. You were 16th in defense last year, and a lot of returners back, Peyton Pallure being one of them, Darian Moulton, Jalen Thompson, Hunter Dale, who's played so many games, Sean Harper. It's a loaded linebacker secondary group, isn't it, for the Cougs?
Yeah, we've got some guys back there, and they're playing pretty well. And then, and I think that they've been good in camp, and we'll have a few new faces, but looking forward to going out there and playing.
Tell me about Misiona Iolupotea-Be'i. He's a newcomer to the defensive line. He's got a relative, I believe an uncle, who played for the All Blacks, maybe the best rugby team in the world. He's a multi-sport athlete. I know you love the multi-sport guys, and Shalom Luani was a multi-sport guy. Frankie Luvu was a multi-sport guy. 2 NFL players right now, but he's a little bit, I don't know if he's undersized or not, but he's on the D-line. He's not the biggest guy there. But what can fans expect from Iolupotea-Be'i and what he's shown you at practice?
Well, they're still trying to get his paperwork done. He looked good in camp, but they're still trying to get his paperwork done with the NCAA.
Okay.
Which some of it I don't understand, the overseas stuff and trying to match everything up. So, yeah, he's in the middle of that. But anyway, so we look forward to when he's back.
Yeah, it's for sure. And then Taylor Comfort is a former walk-on who has solidified himself as a likely contributor there on the D-line. He's a T-shirt guy. 100 degrees in Lewiston, he's got the T-shirt on under the pads. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, he likes T-shirts. Probably has one on now. He, as I coached the offensive line for 10 years, and Taylor Comfort type of guys are big matchup problems. I mean, because they have a low center of gravity, yet they're thick and strong. And if they're quick, which he is, they can get under your pads, and they just create piles. They create disruption. They draw double teams. And then all of a sudden, you can't just all of a sudden stick a bunch of small offensive linemen out there because, the next team you play, most teams are going to have a bigger angular guy. And so, he really does. He takes full advantage of that, and can be very disruptive out there. And he's a lot quicker than you think, too.
He's a Washington native. He's a redshirt senior. And then Nnamdi Aguayo, Nick Begg, Will Rogers, Logan Tago. That's probably something like the rotation you'll see there on the D-line. Nnamdi could be set for really big things this year with 7 tackles for loss last season.
Yeah, Nnamdi does a lot of good things. He's strong, powerful, and I actually think as good as Nnamdi is, he's just scratching the surface. I think he's got a lot of upside, and I think he's probably even a little better than he thinks he is.
So, how long does it take some guys, because he's so physically gifted, you can look at Nnamdi and tell right away that the guy was made to play football. Some guys, do they not realize how good they are? How long does it take for some guys to kind of figure it out? And Abe Lucas comes to mind. That's what I was talking to Mason Miller, the O-line coach, yesterday at practice. Big Abe is 6'7", 320. And he's almost slim. He carries 320 really athletically. And Mason said he's trying to figure out how good he can be.
Well, they got, in most of these cases, they got bigger and stronger. A lot of it was contributions of the offseason and the weights and not playing every sport and eating really good food that our nutritionists and our cafeteria provide. And a lot of them got this size and strength, relatively recently. And, they're used to the other guy a little bit, so they got to get used to the new guy. And so the quicker they embrace the new guy, the better they are.
And by new guy, you mean the 30 edition?
Yeah, what they've morphed into.
Yeah, that's what he's put on 60 pounds since high school. 30 pounds this past offseason, 30 pounds prior. And I'll be darned if Abe doesn't look like he should have had the 60 pounds on him. I mean, it looks like he's built for it.
Abe could carry, he could carry even more. He's got a flat stomach and, really, really, really wide shoulders, long arms. So it'll be exciting to see, because he's had some really good practices, and we want to see him go out there and have a really good game.
How about the rest of the line? Andre Dillard, everybody knows, all-pack level player at left tackle, and then maybe Liam Ryan, Freddie Malangoa returns, Robert Valencia, Josh Watson. How does the line look?
Fred's playing really well. The other thing is just a kind of a real energetic, sort of fired-up guy. Liam Ryan got bigger and stronger in the off-season, so he doesn't get slung around like he used to, and it shows. He's just a real solid, pretty intense guy, and has improved a great deal. Actually, I would probably say he's one of our most improved of our offensive linemen, and Josh Watson does a lot of good things, and Robert Valencia's improved as well.
How about Christian Hangana? He was a guy, when the recruiting class comes in after signing day, Hangana got a lot of oohs and ahs. I think you and I were in Tri-Cities together talking about the recruiting class. Could have been Seattle, but I think it was Tri-Cities. And Hangana came in at like 395 out of high school. Almost four bills. He's down to 345, which is amazing to say. He's down to 345, but he looks more comfortable at that weight. He's certainly more mobile.
Well, we might have embellished that to the negative. I know he was over 4 for a while, and definitely over 4. He had kind of a reverse deal. He had to lose a bunch of weight.
Right.
Now he's quicker than he was. Now he can move better than he could before, and he's doing a lot of good things out there, and he's improved a lot too. So basically, he took a bunch of weight and donated it to Liam, and both of them are better for it. So
that's nice of him. Brian Green. Who's Brian Green? That was a new name for me working through camp. A backup center, maybe a 300-pounder from Yakima? Yeah,
Brian Green is a walk-on center who is just, sharp guy, very competitive, and really has played his way into our backup center. And, is, really an achiever out there. I've been impressed with him. It's
one of these deals where you're – I know you love the O-line. You said you coached it for 10 years, and it's one of the keys to the whole deal here. Well, you had the most decorated O-lineman in program history last year in Cody O'Connell. You got a two-time All-American. You got a Green Bay Packer draft pick in Cole Madison at right tackle. There's a lot of importance to those two spots and a lot to replace, really.
Well, we were looking for those guys when we found them, and and we wish them the best, and they're certainly good players, but. These other guys, they've steadily improved too. And, we'll see how it unfolds, but potentially could be every bit as good or better. Or, we'll see where it goes. And that's, I think, kind of exciting for everybody because they're relatively young, but show a lot of promise.
We're talking football here with Coach Leach. Coach, I know it's football season when you're back here at Zeppos. I know that's when it really, internally, that fire really gets lit when you're back here with the folks here at Zeppos. I know it.
Well, Zeppos is an outstanding place, and they serve great turkey dinners around Thanksgiving.
That's delicious, and like hundreds of pounds of mashed potatoes for offensive linemen.
Oh yeah, those guys eat a lot of mashed potatoes. They just scoop it up, but a lot of gravy too.
Right.
Anyway, it's now Zeppos is an outstanding place. It's a one-stop for casino games, bowling, a bar, all kinds of great food.
Yeah, really good food. It's great. It's great to be back. There's Pac-12 football on. Right now, Utah's up 14-10 on Weber State with a minute to go in the half. That's a tight game there. The Big Sky, they were co-Big Sky champs. Weber State was. That's not an easy in-state game too.
Yeah, they're right up the road from each other.
Yeah, right there. All right, we'll continue talking football here with Coach Leach for the world's most refreshing beer. 21 means 21. Celebrate responsibly with Coors Light, Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Talking football here with the head man himself, live at Zeppos, back next to the Washington State IMG Sports Network. Back here live at Zeppos, talking football with Coach Leach. Cougs take on Wyoming, Week 1, headed to Laramie tomorrow. The Luke Falk watch continues. He started tonight's preseason game for the Titans. It's at the half. Luke is 9 for 13 passing, 63 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Game is tied at 3. It's expected that Luke will continue to play in the second half as he tries to win a spot there in Tennessee. And at times, I know in the preseason, he's played really well. It's really fun to watch him and hear. I was listening on the satellite radio to the Tennessee feed. It's kind of, I feel like they stole my guy. I've said Luke Falk's name hundreds and hundreds of times, Falk over and over and over again. It felt very strange to hear somebody else say it.
Yeah, we need to keep him doing that. But he's been playing well from what I hear. And he's a real student of the game, and I think, just has to keep learning, keep developing, and that's a place where, he can work his way up that roster, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny, he's on the roster now with a guy, a Pac-12 QB starter, Marcus Mariota, that he's familiar with to a degree. I don't know how well he knew him, but he played against him, and in Pullman, and he gets into the NFL with a guy on the roster with some familiarity. I would imagine that helps. But it's always fun to see these guys. 14 Cougs are now in the NFL, and it's so fun to watch them on the teams wherever they may be. Rivers in Denver. He's trying to be a Denver Bronco. Frankie Louvu's played really well for the Jets this year, trying to make that roster. It's a blast watching these guys at the next level.
Yeah, he says Marcus is really a nice guy, and is learning a lot from him, since he's been there a little longer. But, yeah, we're looking forward to all these Cougs. And Daniel's at Cleveland.
Yeah, he had a sack a couple of games ago. Yeah, he's played and Destiny's in Philly. Destiny's been great in Philly. He's been a starter on the D-line for the Eagles.
Yeah, and Dominic Williams and Vince Maley have been bouncing around, too.
Yeah, Maley caught a touchdown. I think he was a tight end when he caught the touchdown for the Ravens last year. He's a big enough guy to do that, which speaks to how well he played at wide receiver in the Pac-12. But who do you think? Can you tell when you're looking at film, Wyoming Cowboys and your guys, like next level guys, or can you tell right away, boom, that guy, he's going to be a pro prospect, or is it harder to deduce this early in the season?
It's kind of hard. I mean, it's hard for a number of reasons. One reason is because the NFL is really idiosyncratic as far as what they're looking for and what they think they want. And a lot of times there's a disconnect between the scouts and the coaches as far as what they're looking for. And, from that standpoint, it can be fairly dysfunctional. And then the other thing is one of the most important qualities to play in the NFL is persistence. And, just really loving football and being persistent enough that, you just stick in there and make it happen and deal with the adversity and deal with the ups and downs that go along with it.
I'm thinking about Tennessee and Luke and Mariota, who's very mobile, comes to mind. He's super fast. Have you ever sought after a running QB for the air raid system? Is that something? How do you feel about that?
Well, if you can find one and he's accurate, which is hard to find. I mean, there's, the NFL has been, drafting one running quarterback after the next. And if they don't develop the ability to throw the ball, they don't last. And if they rely strictly on their legs, that's fun until they get broken, but ultimately they get broken. And then when they get broken, it's not as fun anymore.
Yeah, I feel like you can go through your head of mobile QBs in the NFL who felt really promising, and then, like you said, they kind of get beat up out there. It's tough to do both those things. Not really sustainable, is it?
Well, it can be. There's been some great ones, like I think of Randall Cunningham.
Sure.
I think of Steve Young.
Right. And even Russell Wilson and Cam Newton right now, I guess, would be the two. Mike Vick, he was.
Michael Vick, I thought was real. Michael Vick was a guy that, in my opinion, went into the league and just continued to develop his ability to throw, and then as a result stuck around a long time.
Isn't it amazing that as young as he was at Virginia Tech, they played for the national title game? I mean, that was incredible. What he was doing was wild.
Yeah, no, he was impressive, and they had such a great defense too.
Well, who's the best? Do you recall who are your best young? You ever had a freshman come in? I mean, Mike Vick's kind of his own beast, but have you ever had just a freshman come in and explode onto the scene even better than you thought they might be?
Yeah, but I haven't had one start. I haven't had a true freshman start. I guess Graham Harrell would be one, and then Graham Harrell really played well, and when later in the season you could have made the argument that he could have been the starter.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. You got Cooper here; he's the freshman, and then you got grad transfer Gardner Minshew. Can you tell Gardner's kind of talking to Cooper? There's a half a decade gap there. There's a lot of football being played in there. Can you see a mentor type thing going on? Not that Cooper may not play, but you know what I mean. One guy's a lot older than the other as they kind of work together. You
see a lot of those guys talk to each other, and I do think they draw some from Gardner's experience and confidence. But the thing is they all do some pretty good things, and so they're all pretty good examples in one way or another of things to duplicate.
Well, being told we need to hit a break here. U.S. Bank, proud sponsor of the Washington State Cougars. U.S. Bank, the power of possible. We're talking football here with Coach Leach, getting set to head to Laramie, Wyoming tomorrow on the Washington State IMG Sports Network. All right, it's that portion of the show where we talk about the Wyoming Cowboys, the upcoming opponent this week. They're already 1-0. They beat New Mexico State 29-7. I'm pretty sure New Mexico State is also playing right now. I think they had another short week, so they'll have 2 games played before the Cougs ever even kick off, which is pretty wild. But all right, Coach, Craig Bohl is the head coach for the Wyoming Cowboys. His 5th year in Laramie. They've had back-to-back 8-win seasons. He had a ton of success at North Dakota State. He had North Dakota State come up into the FCS level. He brought them up there, and then they won back-to-back national championships at the FCS level. He's a guy who has won really, really big when he's, wherever he's been as a head coach, and he's pretty much a defensive guy, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's always done a good job as a head coach. I believe we actually played against him when he was at Nebraska, too. Anyway, a good quality coach, a good guy. Fun to talk to, and anyway, does a great job with his team.
Yeah, he's a Nebraska alum. He graduated from Nebraska in '82, and 2 years ago was the Mountain West Coach of the Year. He like I said, he was a big-time defensive coach, 22-year assistant, and then head coach in North Dakota State, and now he's in Wyoming. When you look at the Cowboys, I know you've talked about it a little bit, but let's talk about their offense. We went to their defense. They've got a big QB, just a redshirt freshman, 6'4", 220. What do you see from them offensively?
He does a pretty good job managing their unit. He does a good job of what they want him to do. They don't throw it a ton, but within their system and what they hope to do, he does a pretty good job leading it, I think.
Running back that had almost 200 yards rushing against New Mexico State's a guy named Nico Evans, 5'9", 211. They were blocking really well for him, right? When I was watching, he was getting 5 yards with no contact, stuff like that.
Yeah, good workhorse back. A type of guy that you understand why they want to give it to him quite a bit.
Yep, they've got 3 of them they use. One of the obvious things I think that Coug fans, when they watch or listen to Alex Brink analyze, Alex will be in the booth this year, excited to work with him. There's fullbacks and tight ends. They feel a little bit more like a Stanford or one of those teams that's got 3 lead blockers in the backfield for running back sometimes.
Yeah, they do that. They kind of line up and shuffle the deck as far as the lead backs and the tight ends, and try to get an overload and try to outmatch you, And then, but they'd like to run it if they can, but they're not afraid to throw it, and they'll throw it downfield as well.
That's our opponent preview section there as the Cougs take on Wyoming. Our fabulous sideline reporter, Jessamine McIntyre, just texted. She says, Coach, she's listening, and she said she's going to hunt you down. She's going to chase you down, sprint you down at halftime specifically. I know she always gets the running shoes on, headed to the locker room. She's excited.
Well, she's pretty quick and lively, and it's hard to escape Jessamine.
Yeah.
The other thing is I think it's gotten a little unfair because I used to be able to get her from time to time, but now she gets a head start.
Yes.
She'll start working her way over, not so much on the sideline, but towards the goalposts and stuff like that, towards our locker room, which I don't think is very sporting of her, but. Nevertheless, she's been very consistent about catching up.
Well, there's a whole scout for that, too. I mean, she's down there first half. She's looking at angles, and she's analyzing logistics. I mean, she knows where you're headed. She's looking at game film for that kind of thing, basically.
She pretty well sorts it out, believe me, and does a good job on the sideline.
No doubt. We got a question here from Matt, and he wants to he knows Milton JP, and you know Matt Allman, and he wants to know what's your favorite new gear, the stuff that you got from those guys. And by the way, it should be noted, and I tweeted this out, Milton JP as equipment guys, best in the country. Those guys are the best. Love those guys. And what's your favorite gear this year? Maybe this sweet hoodie you got on right here.
Everybody knows Milton JP, and then of course we get a bunch of Nike stuff and shoes, and start wearing something and I keep wearing it. So I've got some things that are a couple years old, and then occasionally I go to my locker and They've pulled out some of the old stuff and put in new stuff. But I actually kind of have plenty of it laying around that I've never touched. So I don't know. I mean, I just wear the basic stuffs. T-shirts if it's warm, sweatshirt if it's cold. I don't like switching out that hat. I've had that hat a long time.
Is that a lucky hat deal?
Yeah, well, it's a broken-in hat.
Right.
It's more broken in than lucky, I would say. And then, well, the tennis shoes. I don't want to constantly break in a new pair of tennis shoes, so I wear the tennis shoes I wear, And
sure.
So, we got some fashion models running up and down that hall, and they'll try on all the new stuff. And if I'm going to make a change, if my shoes wear out, I'll try to get some reviews on what direction to head next.
Clock never winds down at Northern Quest with 24/7 gaming, great restaurants and lounges, movie theaters, luxury rooms, and more. Details at northernquest.com. We'll come back here live with Coach talking football here at Zeppo's on the Washington State IMG Sports Network.
Welcome back to the U.S. Bank Cougar Coaches Show. U.S. Bank, proud sponsor of the Washington State Cougars. The power of possible. Once again, here's Matt Chazanow.
Back here live at Zeppo's. Supposed to do a quick segment here, coaches. We're starting to get to the end of the hour here. And Robbie on Twitter, who is listening in Alaska, and thanks so much for participating, Robbie. He says you and your family have a place to stay in Alaska anytime, Coach. So should you get should you get up there for any reason, now you know you got a place.
Well, I'd love to go to Alaska. I've been there a couple times outside of Juneau, and I've gone fishing at Elfin Cove with a bunch of great cougs. Jason Gesser leads the charge up there, and he's a very inspired fisherman. Just looking at him, you can tell he loves to get his hands dirty.
Right.
Anyway, we had a great time, and I look forward to doing it again.
We have a great affiliate in Anchorage, and actually they work with another radio station with an oil drilling community. I'm not sure what to call it. It's just they drill oil in the northernmost part of Alaska, which I'm quite confident gives us the northernmost college football radio affiliate in the world. In northern Alaska, Cougar football can be heard every Saturday, which is awesome.
Well, that's where they have those guys walking around the line, the Alaskan pipeline, as they're working on it with guns to shoot the wolves, and so they stay out of harm's way.
Yeah.
So it would kind of be fun to be one of those the wolf shot
That's
guys.
your job. Yeah, that's what you would do.
Drive around on a snowmobile or a cat and just snipe wolves,
Yeah, for sure. Let's take our final break, come back, and put a bow on it for week one here live at Zeppo's on the Washington State IMG Sports Network. All right, Coach, we're back here live at Zeppo's. We are talking football week one. It is we got a couple of minutes here. It's our final segment before we head off to Laramie. Luke Falk now 10 of 15 passing with 71 yards and no touchdowns, no picks. The Vikings have the ball right now with 5:33 left in the third quarter, so Luke still is the only QB to have thrown there for Tennessee. All right, Coach, you've been all the way from Lewiston to now. I know you got big-time playmakers. You grew up 6 hours from Laramie. You were in Cody. What was your knowledge of Wyoming Cowboy football growing up? What was that like?
Well, if you drive real fast, it's 6 hours. They're 380 miles from Cody. Cody, we were up there right on the east entrance of Yellowstone, so they're way down there. I didn't go to Laramie a lot. I had a lot of classmates from high school, went to the University of Wyoming, and had a few well-placed trips up there in college to go see them and had a great time. And then, of course, we played Laramie for the state championship when I was a sophomore, but we played up in Cody. But anyway, you'd hear about Laramie all the time, and especially with regard to the university, and everybody excited to go to school there. And, I think everybody from the state of Wyoming is proud of the University of Wyoming. So it's awesome to have the chance to play them.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for the time. Thanks for everybody who showed up tonight. It's great to see everybody again. It's great to be back. Randy Anthony did a great job back in the IMG Network studios. Jerry Kylo always does a fantastic job with the board right over there. Jared Prengruber and the guys, thanks so much. Go Cougs, and we'll see you in Laramie, Wyoming this weekend.